Good. It's not hot here.
Thank you for the air conditioning.
I was thinking for the air conditioner too. All right, so I'm Carla Girardi Lowe. I want to welcome you tonight to our candidate forum for mayor.
I'm the timer.
Oh, and I'm the president of Redwood Heights Association, so RHA for short. So that's a lot of words. Anyway, so we were really happy that everybody's here tonight. For those of you, and I know there's some folks from different parts of the city, RHA is a small, all-volunteer community organization, and we are focused primarily on doing community events. So we've done, we've done 4 musics in the park, so, kind of small mini concerts. We did a plant share, we did a plant swap, we did a blood drive earlier in the year. This is the first of 3 candidate forums, so there will be a city council forum and a school board district 4, city council also district 4, and maybe if we're lucky, if COVID decides to cooperate, we'll have something in the winter that's indoors as well. So, and then we're going to start planning for next year. So thank you guys all for coming. We really appreciate your support. And of course, you can donate online or you can drop cash. We'll make those just, because we are just on a volunteer day and in partnership with the rec center and leadership in city council. And we have been able to do a lot of things this year. So we're really excited to be able to bring this to you. How this forum is going to work. I'm going to turn that over to you, right? How the forum's working? Yeah, okay. This is Amy.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, Redwood Heights, and welcome to Redwood Heights. We love our neighborhood and our community here, and it's so awesome to have you all join us, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. So this is how the forum works. We want to hear from you, and I see that some of you have already met Mary. Mary, wave over there. And one of the ways you can ask your question is to go over there and get a little piece of paper, write a topic for your question so that we can help sort them in case there are similar topics. Ask your question and hand it over to Mary, and she's going to run them up to Carla and I. Let's see. Anything else you know? Oh, yeah, so here's the order of things. We're going to start off, the RHA has prepared 2 questions to get us started. We're going to allow for opening remarks, our 2 prepared questions, and then we're going to have community questions cycle through. So get your questions into Mary. That'll be 1 minute. So you have 1.5 minutes for opening remarks, 1 minute responses to the prepared questions. We're going to go in the order of a random draw, and then back the other way. We'll have a rebuttal at the end of the community questions for 1.5 minutes, and then a closing of 1.5 minutes. And then afterwards, I hope you'll stick around and meet the candidates. We're doing a community meet and greet, get a chance to introduce yourself, talk to the candidates, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, opening remarks. You're going to start that with Seneca.
Yes.
Who's the timekeeper? Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome. Let's just guys a round of applause. How many of you, by show of hands, live in this neighborhood or a mile away? Oh, beautiful. Okay. My name is Seneca Scott. I'll make this quick. I'm a graduate of Cornell University's Industrial Labor Relations Program. That's the fancy word for union shop. I've worked for unions for most of my adult life until I came to Oakland. I was the East Bay Director for SEIU 1021, 10 years ago. We struck Port of Oakland, City of Oakland, Hayward, a lot of stuff, a lot of union activity. I left the union life to be an urban farmer in my neighborhood of West Oakland. And I developed a personal philosophy of planting our own feet and letting our roots grow. So one thing that I will leave you with is
Keep going.
Keep going.
I said, 15 seconds. 15 seconds and then time.
15 seconds and then time. Keep going.
It's okay. We'll have a lot of time to talk tonight. But what I'm here to do is represent the neighbors. We don't have a voice in City Hall. City Council and Mayor are the most local elections that we have. They're here to serve the interests exclusively of neighbors and local businesses. Right now, we're disenfranchising you with a voice. I am to provide that voice to you. And I offer you a chance to hit the reset button on Oakland's toxic politics that led to our potential collapse. You deserve a lot better as a city. So, I can't wait to talk more and answer your questions. Thank you.
No, that's fine. You know. All right, Allyssa Victory.
Good evening, everybody. I heard 3 people. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I am Allyssa Victory. I am running to be your next mayor of Oakland. I am listed as number 7 on your ballot that you will start receiving around October 10th if you're already registered to vote. If you don't know who I am, I'm a daughter of Oakland. I'm raised in North Oakland by my mother, who was a preschool teacher, who used to teach at Chatham Preschool, which is right behind this park. So I spent a lot of time in this neighborhood, as well as every neighborhood in my childhood. I'm a product of this city. My first job was with Oakland Youth Together, organizing for educational equity, educational justice. I'm a product of public schools. I was also homeless in the city. I've since lived in every city district. I just moved from this district to District 2 to care for my godchild who's been orphaned by COVID. I'm directly impacted by all of the issues affecting everyday Oaklanders that we need real leadership on. I'm running on change. I'm running on high quality public services. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Treva Reid, and I'm excited to be here to hear from you tonight. I share with you that I'm a tenacious, bridge-building, resilient single mother who is leading to transform Oakland for all of us, to deliver from us from the flatlands to the hills, from East Oakland, where I serve now as council member, to West Oakland, from North Oakland to Central Oakland. This is a moment of change, it's a moment of accountability, and it's a moment of results. I've been leading and doing the work, and I also realize that coming into council, that things are not working for us. I have an inside view of what's broken, and I have been working to change and shape this system up, to transform it for us, to deliver for you right where you are, meeting you in the community, uplifting the priorities that I hear from you, keeping you safe and protected, keeping you housed, keeping our city clean and beautiful, keeping our businesses open and our people working. So I look forward to hearing from you more. I certainly have the experience and my lived experience that I bring to the table, my legislative experience having worked for Nancy Skinner, and my professional experience of having lived and worked for major corporations. Thank you.
Should I just go?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Councilmember Sheng Thao. I'm currently the Council President Pro Tem on the City Council, and I get to represent this beautiful district, District 4 here. I'm just going to take a moment to say the floors were actually put in at my very first year in office. But in regards to the moment that we are in today, it is a very scary moment across the whole nation. We are seeing that women's health care is being attacked, and I champion a sanctuary city for women's health care, and was the first in California to do that. And that is why I have the sole endorsement of Planned Parenthood. Also, I fought for the right to recall and the extended paid sick leave during COVID, so our families didn't have to choose between putting food on the table or taking care of their loved ones. And so that is why the California Nurses Association, NUHW, bus drivers, grocery workers, and so many others have solely endorsed my campaign as well. I'm also a staunch supporter of gun reform, and that is why Moms Demand Action has given me the distinguished candidate title for my campaign as well. And I hope that you would learn more at sheng4oakland.com. Thank you.
Thank you. So what we're going to do, so the 2 candidates that aren't here right now, when they get here, whatever spot that is, before or after a set of questions, we'll let them do their sneak peek. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Everyone. Yeah, the acoustics in here are terrible. So, okay, thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, okay. All right, so the sneak peek to the teamwork question, we're going to actually then now start with Allyssa Victory. Okay, so how in the past have you used teamwork to accomplish something that didn't seem accomplishable by just one person?
You have 1 minute, right?
1 minute.
Please learn more at victoryforoakland.com or talk to me after. But one project that I helped accomplish with teamwork that couldn't be possible with one person was helping to build out the Community Programs Bureau of African Black Coalition, the largest student network for Black and African identified students in the state of California. I started as a student, helped to found the Black Resource Center at UC San Diego before I came home to start law school and to become a civil rights attorney and advocate. But I also concurrently was serving in East Oakland, helped build a property out where we were doing food distribution, clothing distribution, political education for our youth, and also helping to build coalitions that helped to write Oakland's Black New Deal in 2020. All of those community-based programs from just being college students would not have been possible without all of our teamwork, our network across the entire state, all of the mentorship, all of the community organizations that taught me how to organize, that taught me how to build, that taught me how to recruit, that taught me how to serve. And it helped me to sharpen our service in Deep East Oakland, to again be able to meet the need during the pandemic, to be able to serve our neighbors, to be able to even donate to other community-based organizations here in Oakland that have been providing and serving. Thank you.
One incredible opportunity that I've had to really shoulder with a number of community organizations here is our Day of Action. So I serve East Oakland. East Oakland, as you know, carries the weight of many of the issues that are impacting us today. Gun violence, illegal dumping, shootings, homicide, homelessness, mental behavioral health, substance use issue. The list goes on. We feel the weight of it all across the city. And so I brought together over 25 organizations that we literally meet our community on 8 blocks, 8 of the most impactful blocks in the city, from 82nd to 90th on International Boulevard. Each organization shows up with a table of resources to respond to the needs of our community. We have given out housing. From 1 month to the last month, we've had 5 people to come into housing security. Jobs, mental health care, substance use care. We have community health partners on the street. We offer jobs. We offer free hot meals. We offer the services that people are looking for every day that they are not showing up at City Hall or the county building to get. And so we have learned to meet people where they are, to give them the resources, the response, and the love that they deserve to help get them back into a place of life stability. Join us at our next Day of Action in September at the end of this month.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, good. So it's no surprise that the City Council and the Mayor's Office, they don't work along together pretty well right now to this day. And so when I brought together the big businesses, that's, you know, Pandora, you're talking about Ask and other big businesses around the progressive business tax, right? Right now we have a flat fee for businesses. And so we wanted to shift that to the progressive business tax, where the bigger businesses pay a higher share and smaller businesses get a tax break. And so what I did was I brought 3 opposing sides. 2 council members wanted $40 million out of this progressive tax for services. Labor unions wanted actually $42 million. The big businesses only said $8 million. So I brought them all to the table, worked with them, and had really hard conversations with them. For 2 months, we walked out of that room. These are stakeholders in the city of Oakland who have never come together before. And we walked out of that room with one deal, and that is for $21 million for services directly affecting our constituents. And this is not property tax, but progressive business tax where bigger businesses pay a larger share.
Oh my God.
Gentrification, or as I call it, the global consolidation of wealth. There's perhaps no neighborhood more impacted than the lower bottoms of West Oakland where I live. And it was our motivation for starting our community garden, for starting Oakland Festival, and for my nonprofit, Neighbors Together Oakland. Because nothing is radical or revolutionary unless it's accessible to everyone. That accessibility is the key to bringing neighbors together in neighborhoods that are experiencing dramatic levels of income disparity, especially when people grow more desperate, when people walk by houses owned by their ancestors in the first Black middle class that are now inhabited by white techies. How do you bring this community together holistically? That's what we took, the challenge we undertook for Ocala. And it's worked. My neighbor Broadway told me with tears in his eyes that this is the best time he's ever had in 7 years. When I asked him why, you guys used to have a lot of fun here, he told me. His answer was, this was for everybody. That's how we fix things in Oakland. Thank you.
Just as a quick reminder, you can go to the question table now if you haven't already and put in a question. Just put the topic and then your question there. We'll be taking community questions next. We have one more question from RHA. Libby Schaaf is leaving office. She's terming out. So that no matter what, there will be a change of leadership in Oakland. How will you bring change as the next mayor of Oakland?
This is a wonderful opportunity for change. If we ever need a change, it's right now at this crossroads that Oakland is faced with issues that seem impossible. Yet I believe that certainly with contagious hope and courageous leadership, we can certainly deliver and come through this. The opportunity that I see is doing what I just talked about. It's showing up every day as the mayor, meeting our people where they are, to craft an equitable budget that delivers for all of us, to ensure that our administration, the administration that I lead as mayor, shows up responsive to council directives and to the community priorities, meeting, engaging, outreaching, and responding to the community needs that are before us. It's making sure that my administration delivers on the critical services, the paving, the illegal dumping and blight. We deserve the resources and response. And as mayor, I get to craft a multi-billion-dollar budget that shows up delivering that for you, and collaborating with council members to get the work done, working in partnership with community-based organizations that I'm doing right now, working with our county leaders, our state leaders, our federal partners to ensure that we maximize those relationships and get the grants and the funding and actually get a grant writer into the city to help us get even more money because we don't have that role right now.
It is time for change. It is time for change in the sense that as the next mayor, I will be able to work with the city council. I have 10 years of experience in City Hall, understanding the intricacies and the nuances in every single department. And working with council members is going to be key. And I'm so proud to have the support of Councilmember Dan Cowell, Vice Mayor Rebecca Kaplan, and Council President Nikki Fortunato Bass. So working with the council is one step, but another thing is that I'm going to be that hands-on mayor, working to ensure that departments in the city are working every single day for its residents. I have shown that as my track record here in District 4. I'm a hands-on council member, and I'm going to be a hands-on mayor. And that is how I get things done here in our beautiful district. Whether it's in Montclair Park, where there's pickleball, invested money into that, or whether it's in Diamond or here in Redwood Heights, where I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, whether it's for the pavilion or the floors, or below 580 at our Brookdale Park for more rec center services. That's the kind of leadership that I'm going to bring. Thank you.
All right, what do I mean when I say hit the reset button in Oakland? Oakland has a weak mayor. I don't care what anyone says. Oakland's mayor is unique to Oakland. We have a hybrid model of government that no other city in California has. What does that mean? Our mayor does not have line item veto power over the budget. Our mayor does not have legislative veto power. You ever notice Libby never votes on anything? We need a charter amendment. We need to change our structure. There is no clear delineation of power in Oakland. That's why we have no accountability. I think some people rather enjoy it. We also need a controller. A dirty word for some people, but a beautiful word to me, because they watch our money. They safeguard our money. Why does Oakland not have a controller? San Francisco has a controller. San Francisco has line item veto power. San Francisco has budget power. Why do we keep calling Oakland's mayor strong when that's a lie? We have a hybrid model of government. If you look at my website, I'm going to change that with a charter amendment for an accountable Oakland. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Well, go ahead and answer this question, and you can do your opening.
Do you mind repeating the question?
The question is, there's going to be change of leadership in Oakland as Libby has hit her term limits. How would you bring change as the next mayor of Oakland?
Great. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Good evening, everybody. My name is Loren Taylor. I am a kid from Oakland, born and raised here, so product of the town. And 5 years ago, as a management consultant, entrepreneur, and engineer, biomedical engineer, pursuing my profession, I couldn't simply stand on the sidelines and watch where my city was going, knowing that I could do something about it. Coming together and helping to solve the tough problems, tough challenges that we had. So I'm grateful to be here, to have been able to represent District 6 at the City Hall. For me, it is important that we focus on actually moving forward instead of simply churning on the challenges and the issues that we've had. The difference that I intend to bring is one of making the tough decisions that are necessary to move Oakland forward. Here in Oakland, we have no shortage of people who say the right things, say what we want to hear, live into our values. But with that, I see time. Was I merging my intro with the?
You weren't, but maybe you can. Because then you'd have one more minute. You had 1 minute for an intro, and now you have 1 minute to answer a
All
question.
good, all good. So the question is, what's going to be different as we move forward, as we move with new administration? So number one, we have to make the tough decisions that are necessary. And that means we have to strike the right balance. Too far in Oakland, we have had the pendulum swing to where we believe that we cannot be compassionate and also enforce some standards and some principles and some laws that exist on the books. We have to be able to prove and to show that yes, we can be compassionate, focused on prevention, root causes, addressing those, while also holding the line and protecting residents in our city. We also have to be focused on the hard work that's necessary to move forward on our tough challenges. Just like when I led the Reimagined Public Safety Task Force, where we pulled Oaklanders together, more than 140, every 2 weeks for 9 months to wrestle with the tough challenges and tough problems. We didn't settle with headlines. We didn't settle with the easy path, going with the flow, but we made the intentional effort in order to solve the problems, have real solutions, and move forward in a sustainable way. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We are going to have a new mayor, but there are people who are running on the status quo. There are people who are running on the same things that our current mayor and our current administration have been doing. Failed policies like encampment management. Failed policies like over-policing and over-criminalizing our way out of every social problem. Failed policies to protect our renters and to protect our homeless population from growing even larger. I'm running on change because I am the change. I have been raised in this city. I've already been the first in my family to go to college, to go to law school. I've already transformed so many different neighborhoods, so many different organizations. through my leadership. I'm ready to help transform our city. I am running on change because I'm directly impacted by all the issues that I want to solve. You don't need to lobby me, you don't need to come to my house in the hills because I live in Flatlands. I'm a renter. My rent is going up next month. I am on the precipice of every issue because I'm feeling it. I'm witnessing it. My family witnessed 2 shootings in our neighborhood over Labor Day weekend. Walking to the store, everyone acts like that is normal, but it's not. I'm running on change because I experienced it, and I know that change is possible because I've seen it in myself. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, guess we're gonna jump right into the deep end here. Okay, that's really small. All right, we're gonna start with crime. So it kind of, I'm just gonna read, well, I'm gonna read the one I can read and then the other one we'll work on. How will you make OPD effective? How will you make OPD effective against crime, against citizens, for instance, catalytic converters, vehicles, tools, purses, and then the other is similar in that every day on Nextdoor and various blogs you're seeing all these things. So what are you going to do to make Oakland a safer city? Sorry. Sheng.
Thank you for this question. I want to be very clear that I am the only mayoral candidate to have invested the most into 2 things: violence prevention and violence interrupters, and officers. And that is clear. That is just facts. I was able to work with Chief Loren Armstrong and make sure that we have higher graduation rates, a quality officer, diversifying our police force, localizing our police force, because we know that officers who are from Oakland know our values and will patrol Oakland in that sense. More so, I was also able to work with Loren and our HR department to ensure that we created the parameters in which we can retain and keep our public safety personnel. All at the same time, I was the only mayoral candidate to have voted for $18 million, new money, $18 million into violence prevention and violence interrupters, because why wouldn't we want to stop the crime before it happens? And I'm also working with state legislation around catalytic converters, ensuring that if you're going to turn in a catalytic converter for money, that you are going to need a receipt for it. And so I would love to talk to you more about that if you can meet me after the session. Thank you.
First, let me start by saying that I'm loud, you can hear me. Let me start by saying that Oakland has lost rule of law. Anyone who dares run on their record right now, like I just heard, when we have no rule of law, should be ashamed of themselves. When you call 911, it takes 18 minutes for them to pick up. 20% of the time, you don't get a pickup. You know why? There's no officer to cover those calls. You know why? Somebody cuts those officers in the person. Okay? This is not okay. This gaslighting is not okay. Don't lie to us and tell us things are getting better when they're getting remarkably worse. When people cannot compete in a compressive system, financially to compete for moral superiority, that goes from at least dangerous being sanctimonious and at most dangerous taking your property or your life. To get rule of law back takes a show of force. It's not a linear thing. You don't just get to say this number worked for this city, so it'll work for us. That city hasn't lost rule of law. That city isn't being besieged by criminals. We need to be serious and honest with our voters and with our neighbors to move forward. Thank you.
So the question about how we protect our residents, how we address the crime rates, it comes back to what I described earlier, striking the balance of being both supportive of our residents, understanding, compassionate, and firm, holding up the laws that we have. I was able to stand with our residents when they declared that enough was enough, the stand tall call to action is what we asked for. And that's what I will continue to push as Oakland's next mayor. 5 specific goals: doubling the homicide and violent crime clearance rate, reducing by half the number of outstanding 911 calls, doubling our investments into proven violence prevention technologies. And yes, I'm glad that I and Councilmember Reid not only voted for $18 million in historic violence prevention, but also the police academies at the same time, and didn't wait to come back 6 weeks later and try and pass that as a novel concept. Thank you.
Okay, so we only have 1 minute. Public safety is one of my top issues. Public safety is in crisis because our public's in crisis. Catalytic converter theft is a part of economic crimes, right, that people turn in exchange for money. Right, when people are hurting, when we have high unemployment, when we have high homelessness, when people are being pushed out, even the majority of our police force do not live in the city, there's going to be more crime. The safest communities have the highest investments in our residents, in our workers, have the cleanest streets, right, have the highest economic opportunity, educational resources. We have to invest more in violence prevention, but we do need our police force to be effective. We invest a high dollar amount already, we need a return on that investment. I'm the only police practices and criminal justice attorney in this race who has been advising not just our city, but 48 out of 58 counties across our state on public safety, on use of force policy, on oversight of their departments. Our city's entering 19 years of federal oversight for unconstitutional policing. I will end it so we can focus on serving our residents with high quality policing. Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Can you hear me okay? Here we go. Our community is being traumatized. We're living in fear over smash and grabs, catalytic converters, the violent crime that's rising everywhere, and it is a concern. I have championed public safety day one without delay. I've been working with OPD to increase our response and our resources that are needed to ensure that we fast-track Oakland-grown officers coming up with 4 new academies being established, making sure that we get state and federal grants that we need to help fund the resources that we need, the 911 operators that need to be responsive to you. I serve a part of the community right now that on any given day, in the midst of these public safety decisions, we have 400 calls waiting for someone to pick up the call. People traumatized and re-traumatized with no response. And so I will work to ensure that we've got more academies, that we expand macro, that we double our violence prevention, intervention, and healing and trauma care, that we work with a strong DA partner to hold those who are terrorizing our community accountable. This lawlessness will stop as I lead out as your mayor.
Okay, this next question has to do with the culture and art scene in Oakland. One of the things we love about Oakland is that it's unique. One of the things we love about Oakland is that it's unique, has a rich diversity and cultural history, and has an emphasis on the arts. This is sometimes in tension with other kind of cultural experiences like sports teams, the Howard Terminal, losing the Warriors, etc., right? The politics of sports and culture. The question is, as mayor, how do you emphasize and renew and invest in arts and culture, given sometimes competing ideas?
I think Loren. It's Loren.
All right. I founded Oakland Festival. It's art, music, and food. We called it Oakchella before they filed a lawsuit and cease and desist. But it was the year that color became in the Oxford Dictionary, so it was apropos. And the arts program was cut to Oakland was in the bars. When I lived in Los Angeles, a really good friend of mine, a prominent director who came from that school, Ricardo Henry, he's back now to bring the arts back to Oakland. Our children need this. They love to dance. They love to sing and rap and express themselves. Our failure to provide this conduit for them is the reason why we have child shoulders in the streets today. There's a direct link. We talk about root causes, but when it comes to us, we created new root causes in Oakland. So what do we need to do? We need to invest in our education to make sure that art is a pillar of a fundamental part of the educational experience, the way it was when I was growing up. So hopefully you all will join me in that endeavor. Thank you.
I remember as a kid having assemblies in elementary school with Pete Escobedo and the family coming and performing, exposing us to the richness of performing arts. We have to, in Oakland, recognize that arts are the foundation of our culture and what makes us so strong and so unique. Whether it's the dance, the visual arts, the performance. My daughter, I'm proud of, she is in a dance company in East Oakland called Heat Dance Line. And they compete, they represent Oakland across the country. We've got amazing talent here that Oakland is known for, that we are proud of, not just Oakland School of the Arts, but across every corner of our city, and that's something we have to continue investing in. We have vacant parcels, properties across the city. One example of taking advantage of that is working with the owners of Eastmont Mall, where we brought a museum into Eastmont Mall, free space that they could use to activate it and really embed and strengthen the arts activation, and the activities for our young people. And so we have to do more of that. Thank you.
I wholeheartedly agree with Seneca and Loren about having higher educational access for our young people. We have extremely talented folks in Oakland. I'm one of them that came from Oakland Youth Together. That was a cultural program that taught me ethnic studies as a way to help retain me in high school. They would send me to go taiko drumming, ethnic studies high school conferences, to powwows, to learn about other communities that were existing in the Bay Area, to learn about their histories, to learn about their culture. Culture is a medium to teach people themselves, to teach our history, to teach belonging in our city. We have to expand in our Cultural Affairs Commission, which gives out grants, which provides support for artists, which helps identify new projects that we can partner on as a city. We have to invest and expand more in our arts for our youth. We have amazing film programs, and a lot of them are run by nonprofits, by youth leadership groups. But we need to have, again, more explicit investment from our city side in our young people, and more leadership with our youth commission that already exists. And again, using our existing structures to provide high quality services, including in arts and culture. Thank you.
Oakland is arts and culture. This is a town that if there's a place to uplift the beauty of arts and culture and to invest more deeply, it's in Oakland. It's what we've known for, and it's what we haven't invested significantly enough in, particularly with our students. I too grew up in drama, vocal music, music theater, arts, and when I worked for Nancy Skinner in the State Assembly, we led out an initiative in this area for STEAM, really investing more deeply into students of color, our young Black and brown students especially, working to engage them in arts programs, and engaging in cultural arts programs. On City Council, we invested in this last budget to invest more in partnerships with youth-serving organizations, with local artists to help beautify and uplift our community as a part of our beautification and renewal focus over the graffiti abatement. So it was, how do we counter the graffiti? Let's beautify and uplift the buildings, the backdrops of Oakland, and let's partner with Visit Oakland. Visit Oakland has now an opportunity to tap into $96 million from the governor's tourism funds. That tourism fund is being driven to enhance arts and culture and community, to beautify communities, to attract people to come into this town, and I believe we can do that with an incredible program on just our own city's motto of Love Life.
As a mother of a son who is an artist himself, he is a cellist and a pianist. He's a little music genius. I'm so proud of him. Turned 16 in October. You know, if it wasn't for the accessibility the accessibility of getting to the arts, he would have never found his love for the cello. And the cello and music and artistry, it's medicine. It's medicine for our soul, and I know that to be fact because my son had severe ADHD. But with the cello, it was able to center him, calm him down, and now he's able to still learn effectively without being on medication. So the arts for me is personal. It's medication for the soul. And so what I want to do as your next mayor, because all of this can just be said, but how can you fund it? How do you fund these programs? How do we bring the arts to our children and fund it? And that is why I, as mayor, because mayor, you are basically the CEO, the executive director of the city. You have to go and have relationships at the state level, national level, and I have those endorsements from Speaker Anthony Rendon, assembly members, and senators, and I'm the only candidate to have those relationships, and that's how we're going to get other people's money to come to Oakland to support our kids.
Okay, on the topic of money, the next topic is budget. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of combine two questions here. So the first off is the Oakland economy, and I think that really means budget, sustainable? Like, is it a sustainable budget? You know, in other words, are there enough resources to fund the needs of Oakland? And then part two of the question is the people's budget for Oakland may be on the ballot. And so do you think this would be good for Oakland? Why or why not? Is that a lot?
You're gonna describe what the people's budget is? Yeah. Or do we have to spend our minute describing it? Good question.
I don't know what the people's budget is. How about, does somebody want to do a quick recap of the people's budget? Who's our best person? Anyone? Oh, yeah. Okay.
The council did not vote to put this onto the ballot, but people are out collecting signatures. It's called a participatory budget, and so what would happen is you would go out to the community and have community participate in where they want to allocate the tax revenues.
Thank you. I think Lauren's first.
Thank you. So the first question, is the city of Oakland's budget sustainable? Bottom line is we don't have enough resources to address all of the challenges that we have. And that is the job of our city, is to figure out how we're going to increase the amount of resources we have in order to address all of the challenges that exist. And we have to look at novel and innovative ways while also taking care of some of the basics. Number one, we have to make sure that we operate more effectively and efficiently. And as a business consultant and an engineer focused on operations excellence, that's what I have done before coming into City Hall. That's what I have been focused on, asking those tough questions while a council member. And I will, as mayor, ensure that we are interrogating our operational practices to save dollars where we're wasting them, to identify new revenue sources where they exist and we haven't explored thoroughly enough. It's also important that we look at ways to grow revenue, both not just with taxes, but with new funding sources, with partnerships, extending beyond our own resources in order to support the needs that we have. Thank you.
To answer the first question, no, I don't think our budget is currently sustainable. We do have large unfunded liabilities, including our pensions, which we need to find a way to fund those so that we're not robbing our workers of their retirement. I used to do retirement law, and it's a very serious issue that we have to address before the population ages into retirement. We also have to correct our mismanagement of our current budget. We do have lots of monies. We have some of the highest taxes that we've already charged you all to do business, for property taxes. We have to have a higher return on those. We have to ensure that our actual administration is collecting, assessing those, including things like our vacant parcel tax that is supposed to be providing funds for affordable housing development. There's a lot of lack of transparency in how our money is currently being spent, why we're not seeing any real solution solutions or problems being mitigated, but they're actually expanding under all of the millions of dollars that we've been spending to address issues like homelessness and to address our pandemic crisis. So, sorry, last piece really quickly. I supported people's budget. Participatory budgeting is an expressed part of my platform, though it looks different than the structure they're proposing in this ballot measure. But I have been talking with the People's Budget Oakland about the differences and the nuance. Thank you.
We absolutely have to manage our unfunded liabilities. There are over $850 million in unfunded liabilities, and we are really challenged with having unrestricted funds to really utilize to take care of a lot of the issues and the priorities that we have, while we work certainly with some ballot measures that are coming up that will help to increase some revenue into the city. But there are a lot of opportunities that we have. When I came onto council, we were $150 million in a deficit. And so the American Rescue Protection Act funds truly came and helped to shoulder our city during this time of crisis. And so there are going to be a number of things that we do beyond this ballot period that we have. We certainly have Measure KK that can bring in over $850 million as an extension of Measure K that went before. And so there are a number of things that I know that we have to do. There are a number of things that I believe that we are currently doing to help us deliver on the budget priorities that we have right now. And ensuring that one of the things that we haven't done effectively while we work to manage our unfunded liabilities, that we've not had an emergency reserve. And so making sure that every general fund dollar that can be purposed into emergency fund is done so that we can have that assurance in times of crisis.
As the most experienced candidate up here and then working on the city's budget for over 7 years, I understand that it is not sustainable the way that we are headed. We are currently right now paying for social services and health services, but we don't have a health department. That is county. That's the county. The county must be held accountable for making sure that they take care of the services that they are delivering. More so than that, it's about getting new funding. You see, I'm not a big believer in regressive taxing. More property tax, more businesses tax of the same property owners, the same businesses. As mayor, it is your job to seriously put together an economic development team to go out and convince why Oakland, for big businesses and other businesses to come to Oakland so that we can actually expand our tax revenues. That is the job of the mayor, and that is something that I'm going to take seriously, because quite honestly, that has not been taken seriously. And so what do? We continue to tax the same people, the same business, and I think that is wrong and not right.
Well, we broke. 20% of our budget is from COVID relief funds. Let that sink in. The unions, unfunded liabilities, and pensions can bankrupt us. The 500 plus lawsuits Oakland has against it for mismanagement can bankrupt us. City Hall still closed. It says permanently closed on the website. When I call, it says we're shelter in place. They haven't updated in 2 years. And you wonder why we broke. It's a joke in City Hall. They're not about that money. They don't want to make it a friendly environment for businesses to come and invest. There's no free lunch. All these altruistic programs require money. Money comes from taxpayers. Taxpayers are fleeing. Businesses are fleeing. They're divesting from Oakland for many reasons. The number one reason is our inefficiency in City Hall, our inability to create a business-friendly environment. So I think that is paramount right now to recognize this is a glorified janitor job. If you want to be something else, don't run for city council or mayor. We're going to clean things up. We're janitor, right? You want to be the principal, run for Congress. You want to be a legislator, you want to be a teacher, right? Get it. We're not corresponding with the levels of what the shop needs. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
The next question has to do with working with engaged citizens and citizen advisory groups. So in Redwood Heights, we pride ourselves on neighborhood involvement, and I know, I see many of you out here, we're involved in our communities, and we want to make a difference and help with some of these very systemic problems that are super difficult to tackle, like homelessness, blight, trash, etc. So the question is, as mayor, how would you be willing, or would you be willing, and how would you work with citizen advisory groups for topics that are tough, for new ideas like ending homelessness?
That's what I'm running. I call myself Oakland. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it's Alyssa.
My bad.
Right. I know. Is it, turn it on.
Better? Okay. To work better with our citizen advisory groups, they already exist. They're already structured. They already have regular meetings, regular engagement. I've attended a lot of your neighborhood councils, even during pandemic via Zoom, or some of your events that you host. Even this neighborhood association has great engagement, educational events, providing even just art for people to come and enjoy. I think having a mayor that shows up to all of those spaces, not expects you all to confine me at City Hall or at my house, but is affirmative in our engagement, affirmative in hosting public town halls. I'm running on things like public budgeting, public banking. That requires that I have a deep relationship and partnership with the public. So I think stepping in and leaning in to those existing structures, having a space, having that voice, but also listening to the work that you're already doing, right? Our residents are already doing deep work in things like illegal dumping, things like cleaning up our neighborhoods where our city is failing, where our contracts that we put our city under with waste management, California Waste Solutions, are not sufficient. We even have restrictions on people doing self-help. And so we're making it harder, but our community is already leading, and we should make it easier, not harder. Thank you.
I love this question because I'm doing that right now. And it's something that I've been doing. Prior to coming on the city council, I served on the boards and relationships with over 12 different organizations in the community. So I've been a part of the community, I've been listening and showing up with the community, and as a council member, that's how I've led out. My first year, I led over 12 town halls, meeting with our community where they are. I personally attend our NCPC meetings. I personally attend our HOA meetings. I personally show up on the ground. We've had over 20 community cleanups. We've been out there with our neighborhood, cleaning up, serving, strengthening, listening, participating to hear the real issues. I lead from a deep well of having lived the experiences that we are enduring today. I've lived the deep trauma, like too many of our families, of losing a loved one to gun violence. I've lived and faced the threat of homelessness and housing instability, of being unemployed, of having food insecurity, of facing domestic violence and that terror of almost losing my life. And so the issues that are before us are real for me, and I show up meeting with real people to understand how to influence decisions and how to show up with the priorities that matter most to you and deliver on those with you and for you. I've been doing that work, and I look forward to continuing with a greater role of influence to impact how we show up for Oakland.
Citizen advisory groups. I take these groups seriously. Many of our citizens, they signed up to be commissioners, and it is a volunteer position. And they spend hours and hours diving into whether it's Planning Commission, Sweet and Sugar Beverage Commission, or any other commission. And I take that seriously, as I have done as council member. I don't go against what the advisory has recommended, because we are charging them to be the professional eyes that look at what we are doing and giving us the advice on how we as leaders should be voting and how we should be leading the community. Of course, there's questions to be made and amendments to be made on the dais and changes, but I take working with community incredibly serious. Also, neighborhood services coordinator. I want to make sure that neighborhood services coordinator attend every single neighborhood council. Sometimes they show up right now, sometimes they don't. Along with our beat patrol officer, our CRO and CRTs, community resource officers. Sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't. As your mayor, as the chief commander of the police department, I will ensure that you have access to those key facts, those key personnel at City Hall. Thank you.
All right, I call myself Oakland's neighbor. I believe in neighborship. My nonprofit's called Neighbors Together Oakland. You get the ongoing theme. As I said before, I'm here exclusively for the needs of neighbors and local businesses who I feel have been disenfranchised in Oakland's politics. We don't have a voice. I've been working with Clayton Davis in the Beats If any of you want to be, you probably see me in your meeting because I take that stuff seriously. The neighbors are how we take our city back from special interest. If we don't feel that the city is serving your needs, there's a reason we don't elect our neighbor. You want the best test for someone for mayor, go to their neighborhood, talk to their immediate neighbors, and ask them how much change have they done in their neighborhood. How endeared are their neighbors to them? I take that test any day of the week. My neighbors love me in my neighborhood. It's because I love them. We sacrifice for each other so we can be resilient and prepared for the challenges ahead. That's the energy that I plan on bringing to City Hall. Thank you.
Just like Seneca, my neighbors love me too, and I love them. It is a critical question. Absolutely, the existing infrastructure, neighborhood councils, existing commissions, boards that are citizen-run, volunteers that are putting their time and energy in. Huge respect, have worked with them consistently since I have been in office. I think it's important to also acknowledge that when tough issues come forward, we have to dig in and create those spaces, those tables, and those platforms to engage with residents. And that's what I did when we reimagined public safety. When we didn't simply go with the emotional exuberance at the time, but we wanted to wrestle with the tough questions and challenges of how we keep our community safe while also investing in violence prevention and root causes to improve our overall public safety system. That's the type of pulling more than 140 Oaklanders together, working every 2 weeks over 9 months to really come up with real recommendations that have already been incorporated into the budget. That's what real community-centered leadership and partnership looks like, and that's what I will continue to do as Oakland's next mayor. Thank you.
The next topic is education. Education in the city of Oakland. So, California is known to have the lowest funds for K through 12. We know that OUSD has struggled over the years. This has bigger words than that, but I'm not going to say that. And so really it's like, what is your stance on neighborhood schools, like the reconsolidation, school closures? How can we promote quality public education in the city of Oakland? And we are, Treva. She has that.
Microphone.
That's it. No, that's good. I just have to remember that it comes off and on. I chair education partnership with our OUSD trustees and our city council members, and so it's something that we've been working on certainly from day one with me coming on board. It's something that I've done before coming on board. I served as the board chair for community education partnerships, where we help to support those students who are unhoused or highly mobile. I serve on the board of East Oakland Youth Development Center. I served on the board of the Crucible, and work to ensure that our community organizations that serve our students have significant grants and funding, because we know that our school district is not resourced sufficiently. Today I took part in a discussion. There are a number of things that we can talk about with OUSD, and I certainly believe from day one, as I faced 5 closures of schools in my district of the 11, that there was not sufficient outreach and engagement with the parents to really discuss what was coming before them 2 weeks into their students returning back to school, and there lacked an equity study to talk about the impact of those schools, particularly in East Oakland, that were already facing, at that time with COVID, the highest death, diagnosis, and hospitalization rate, and parents trying to figure out what to do about their students' education. But there's an issue with A through G requirements that is a critical issue that's before us right now, and it's impacting our ability to prepare our students to even graduate and have college and career choices. And that's something that I'm keenly focused on, dropping the D and making sure that our children, particularly Black and brown children who've been underserved and kept out of being able to matriculate into the colleges of their choice or career paths, are better served early on in that school system, and providing more support to families in Head Start and into K through 12.
We have a really big issue with, in regards to our public schools here in the city of Oakland. We are seeing that schools are being closed in the areas that are Black, brown, and low income. That means that kids can no longer walk to school. Those kids who are the most on the margins, who probably never had a ride to school to begin with, they can no longer go to their neighborhood school. And that's problematic because there was never a process. There was never a process. So I do not agree with that. Actually, when I heard that that happened, I quickly called Assemblymember Mia Banta, who has also endorsed my campaign, and I told her, please help our kids plug this hole up so that they can finish this term. And so she was able to help us with $10 million, and that was because I called her. That is the kind of leadership that we need here in Oakland. Not just that, but let's think outside of the box. It's not just about the school closure, it's about having more kids in classrooms as well. It's about making sure that teachers have housing. My son right now, he does not have a physics teacher. He does not have a physics teacher. And so for me, I'm so honored to have in District 4, 197 workforce units so that our teachers can actually live here in Oakland and teach our kids. And we also need to build pipelines and pathways for our youth as well, keep them busy and money in their pockets. Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Seneca. It's a little rude, but that's okay. Thank you all so much. Please don't interrupt me again.
Oh, my turn. I mean, it was my turn 30 seconds ago. So, but look, hunger. Our children are hungry. I discovered this summer, my girlfriend teaches autistic kids at Castlemont High School. They're feeding kids processed food from a food bank, despite our $70 million central kitchen. Again, the root causes, children going hungry. I dare every single member of the school board to eat what they feed our children every day and finish every last crumb. It is outrageous. Michelle Obama did not water for 8 years for us to feed our children poison in our school and expect for them to retain any knowledge whatsoever. So I'm all in on that. No child in Oakland will eat processed, poisonous, non-nutrition food and be expected to learn in our school. The fact that our literacy rates, we're embarrassing right now. You guys see that news report where Oakland has sub 20% literacy rate among Black children here? What in the world is going on? We should be ashamed of ourselves. So it starts with the hierarchy of needs, food. And I'm going to cap it out first. Thank you.
As a product of Oakland Public Schools, as the son of a retired Oakland Public School teacher, and as a parent of a child who is currently attending the same Oakland Public Elementary School that I went to when I was a kid, the educational system here in Oakland is deeply personal to me. It is a high priority. It is the reason why I will not enter into a debate about keeping a building open or a closed, when regardless of whether you close the building or not, you're still on the path to have more than 75% of the students in given schools performing below grade level. We're having the wrong conversation. We need to talk about how we help our kids move from where they are to grade level and beyond, and that's what I'm focused on. That's why for the welcoming schools in my district, I work with community partners, nonprofits, funders, to ensure that we can bring literacy coaching to our students so that it can help them advance in their career, in their cradle to career journey, so that they can be prepared for life. Instead of going back and forth talking about adult issues, we need to focus on the kids and what they need. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For the financial issues, we have a very wealthy state. California reported a $97 billion surplus. Half of that by law is supposed to go to education. We need leadership that is willing to invest, that is willing to follow the law, that is willing to get the issues right. It's been in crisis for decades. I'm a product of Berkeley Public Schools, even though I was living in Oakland, having to commute, relying on AC Transit or BART to get to school every day. My godson lives in the Fruitvale with me. He goes to Berkeley schools, that's where his parents put him. So our school district has been failing families and students for a long time. for decades and for generations. I do support community schools and neighborhood schools where our district is failing, to provide families with that option, to ensure that they can have access to a school or a setting that works for them, one that's accessible to them, one that feels safe, and that is comfortable with them. I also support us having more youth voices and power in this issue. I've supported Oakland Youth Vote, which would have allowed our 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in this school board election. Our county registrar has not implemented that. Our democracy and our leadership is in crisis, and I am running to fix it for our youth and our next generation of Oakland.
The next question is about the Howard Terminal project. Where do you stand on the Howard Terminal project and balancing economic development with environmental and neighborhood impacts?
Thank you for this question. I think I've been the clearest council member in regards to where I'm at with Howard Terminal. I believe that we can get to a yes on Howard Terminal. However, it is only if there are hard backstops to ensure that the city of Oakland, the residents, you and I, are not holding the responsibility of paying back millions of dollars when we come and talk about Howard Terminal. Also, I want to make sure that there is affordable housing, 15% on-site and at least 20% off-site. And on game days, it should be on the A's to provide all the traffic directing and what have you. Community benefits is also the forefront, and we must make sure that Chinatown and West Oakland residents are at the decision-making table, because those two areas are the most polluted in the city already, right? And so we must make sure that we have this minimal threshold, because I refuse to allow for the A's to totally take advantage of the city, and we end up in a situation where we are again held to pay back those millions of dollars like what happened with the Raiders. Thank you.
Build it. We need Howard Terminal. We lost two sports teams, right? Y'all see a Warriors jersey in the bar when we won the championship? I don't feel like a champion right now, because they're not here anymore. 2018 was the best year of my life in Oakland in my 10 years I lived here, because I used to walk home from downtown after the bars and I felt safe. It was the summer without a motive. Think about that. Just a short time ago, we won a summer without a motive. Sports matter. Oakland used to be in the news over 250 days a year because of our sports team. That drives investment, that drives revenue. That helps these small businesses stay afloat, especially our eateries and our bars. Our downtown's dead. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. We got 3 sports teams downtown. It's a lucrative endeavor to own a sports bar downtown. Not in Oakland. They're struggling. So we need to build it. It's 2 years later. I wait for city council and I'm still answering this question. We need to see some leadership from our electeds to get this deal done. Thank you.
As a kid from Oakland who grew up here going to A's games, cheering for them from the bleachers with my grandparents, eating homemade sandwiches, drinking Shasta sodas, I want to replicate a similar experience with my grandkids growing up here. And so yes, it is important to me that we do have a major league sports team here. But at the same time, this is not a sports deal. This is a business transaction. And just like any business transaction, you don't trust the person on the other side to be looking out for your best interest. You've got to do that. This project, only 10% of it has to do with baseball. It is about real estate development. It's about commercial businesses. It's about corporate headquarters, arts entertainment district, all of those things that make it worth $12 billion. And so yes, there should be commensurate value coming for the city and the public out of that in affordable housing, in jobs created, in recurring revenue that's coming as well. And so that's what I'm focused on, making sure that the city gets its commensurate return on its investment in a way that benefits today's generation and future generations. And I will continue to fight for that with other deals, other opportunities that come to the city of Oakland as this next mayor. Thank you.
position on Howard Terminal is community benefits, and I'll explain. Y'all have been to Coliseum, what's there? What's at our Coliseum right now? Y'all have lived here long enough and had a Coliseum-specific plan back in 2015. We've had lots of town halls and visioning sessions. My stepmother and my baby sister are seasonal stadium workers right now. Those are not livable jobs, those are not unionized jobs, those are not jobs that can sustain their entire lives or even pay their rent in deep East Oakland right now. So I was on the Jobs and Economic Development Steering Committee for our community benefits process sponsored by the city for 6 months. I was also working with different steering committees that were focused on housing, on the environment, and all of our work together created a community benefits matrix. That is what I will continue to negotiate off of on this project. That is about safeguarding our workers, our residents, our communities, our education system from the massive impacts that it can have, and ensuring that our benefits that will offset it. I will also demand the same of our African American Sports and Entertainment Group that is proposing development at our Coliseum with a WNBA team, a stadium for our Reed soccer team, and also wants to bring film and other types of industry to that area. I do support economic development and revitalization, but with community benefits and equity. Thank you.
As much as the A's want to hit a home run with this project, I want to make sure that this project delivers for the city of Oakland. And so what we have been doing is negotiating in this process without seeing a financial deal. That financial deal has yet to come before us. But one thing that I've been clear about in this process is that the A's committed to 100% privately financing this ballpark. I agree with them, and I have been working to hold them accountable in this process, and working to ensure that whatever deal comes before us also includes those deeper community benefits, making sure that it has a strong jobs agreement, that it has the deeply affordable housing that we've asked to be in this with our own term sheet of 35% affordable home ownership. Affordable housing, and certainly would love affordable home ownership in that as well. Making sure that we address the pedestrian and cyclist traffic safety. Making sure that we address the traffic congestion and the seaport mitigation. Working to ensure that those areas that are impactful to the community that is around it, West Oakland and Chinatown and Jack London and at the waterfront, that their voices are heard as stakeholders, and that what we deliver for our city, if it's going to be a deal, that we can feel and realize that benefit from Howard Terminal to Deep East Oakland, where the Coliseum is yet to realize the vision that we are holding them accountable for there too, as they own 50% of that land.
This is actually the last community question, and then there's going to be a rebuttal, so you can rebut on any of the things we've talked about tonight. And this might fit in that topic. Okay, it's about vision. So sometimes Oakland has a reputation for it's hard to get things done in city government, in the city of Oakland. Things take time, there's lots of process. So the question is, and we have some problems that we need to address. The question is really, what do you want to get done as the new leader of the city of Oakland in your first 90 days? You know, there's a book about it.
All right, first, I have a 120-day plan, but we're gonna just rush it. We're gonna rush it. Burned out vehicles that are pervasive or abandoned vehicles across town. We need a countywide and state assistance to tow them out. When you have a burned out vehicle that takes an average of 90 days to remove from your neighborhood, it's given a direct sign to people that there's no rule of law. Again, a repeated theme. Second is, enforce our encampment management policy, especially when it comes to about a dozen. There are over 360 homeless encampments in Oakland. But there are only about a dozen that are open air drug markets that are providing the most intense issue in the neighborhood that's around them. We need to absolutely shut those illegal encampments down and provide housing and shelter to the people who are living there. Those are paramount. Next is Department of Agriculture. I want to scope out every single vacant lot in Oakland and see if we can grow food or plant medicine there. I want an edible, walkable forage map so you can look up and walk around and get food in your neighborhood, herbs, community gardens, etc. we're going to get that program started. We're also going to get our Accountable Oakland Charter Amendment started in the first 90 days. Accountable Oakland Charter Amendment started in the first 90 days as well. Thank you.
Yes, the 90-day plan. It's absolutely important that we lead the way that we intend to continue on. And so, for me, I'm going to highlight 3 specific goals in the first 90 days. The first, and I anchor to this as an operations management professional before coming into City Hall, focusing on that while in City Hall, is we have to implement performance management, a performance management system. By the end of the first 90 days, every department will be expected to produce a dashboard, a report card of how they are performing against their goals. What the goal is, how it's prioritized, what the milestones are in order to get that, and how we are performing relative to those milestones. Second, we absolutely have to implement the encampment management policy. I worked hard as a Life Enrichment Committee chair to pull together the community over it was over a 9-month process in order to get that implemented in a way that the council could unanimously support it, and we absolutely need to resource it and implement it, and we have to have a cleaning blitz in this town. Not holding anything back, fully investing our overtime, partnering with our other partner organizations like the Beautification Council, the Excess Litter and Enforcement Team, and others to make sure that we treat this city and show how much we care about it. Thank you.
These are good questions, y'all. 1 minute. I will be releasing a full 100-day plan. But some of my priorities are to end our encampment management policy, and the policy is directing us to manage 10 encampments, and that's exactly what you're seeing. We're not allowed to evict people from the public street without having shelter and emergency beds to offer them. We declared an emergency crisis back in 2018 when we ran out of those beds. We've not had any real plan or any demonstration of using our emergency powers since we made that declaration. So I will have an emergency plan to house the homeless and to be able to move encampments off of our public streets, from our parks, from in front of businesses, from in front of your homes. My second priority is to have a plan to fill all of our vacancies. These are vacant positions that are already funded, that are already budgeted, that we have a slow administrative process of getting the actual staffing that we need across all of our city departments. And that is leading to low quality public services when we don't have any public servants working with us. I also want to have real internal meetings with our staff. I'll be inheriting an exhausted and tired workforce, and we have to have some grounding around these plans, some unity around them, understanding what each person in administration or departments are going to hold. Thank you.
There's certainly a lot to get done and prioritize in our first 90 days. The interdepartmental accountability is critical. Right now, our staff does not really operate in the type of efficiency that I believe that we should be coming together with data-driven approach, response, tracking, reporting, and holding our departments accountable to the goals and priorities that are already established. Also, it's reducing the violent crime. It is certainly crippling our city. And so one of the things that we can do immediately is making sure that we expand macro while taking that pressure off of our stretched police resources as we work to ensure that we've got 4 police academies budgeted in my first budget. It's making sure that we do love on our town, clean it up. Right now, as mayor, I can easily resource what we already have in place, designating crews proactively to the hot spots to ensure that those areas are prioritized. I'll give you an example of one of those areas, trash receptacles. In areas like East Oakland, where 50% of the illegal dumping of blight occurs, we got 12% of trash receptacles. That doesn't take a council directive. That takes me as the mayor making a decision to ensure that resources are equitably allocated across the city. And it's making sure that we meet our neighbors where they are with our jobs. There are 700 budgeted vacancies. We need to get outside of City Hall and meet our neighbors with the neighborhood job services like we're doing with our Day of Action, making sure that our community is aware of the jobs, can get those jobs, apply for them, and we can expedite them through the process of the civil service that needs to be reimagined.
I think that it's incredibly important to understand that the way that the city works, council members are legislators, the mayor is the executive branch, meaning that they implement. And so I will be first meeting with the council members. I want to meet with the council member, understand what they want in each of their district, pick top 3 things so that we can actually execute it in that year, get it done for the people, for the residents. Number 2, meet with all the department heads, understand what are some of the hiccups, and if they were given a blank canvas, how would they perform? What would they actually implement, because they are the professional in their said area. And then give them the support that is needed to implement a successful plan, because that's what we're not having right now, is the lack of successful planning and execution. Number 3, have interdepartmental meetings every single week, so that we are not waiting 6 months to a year for our building permits. If you want to build out an ADU or a room, we should be meeting all together, the departments, to say, okay, fire, have you inspected? What is your issue with that? Okay, building, have you inspected? What is your issue with that? Let's go ahead and clear these out. Get things done, be effective for our residents in the city of Oakland.
That's it for the community question. Now, we have any rebuttals that you would like to throw out there. You have a minute and a half, whole extra 30 seconds. The topics that we talked about tonight were teamwork, change, crime, arts, budget, citizen advisory groups, education, Howard Terminal, and 90-day vision. So we'll start with Seneca. You have a minute and a half, and then we'll finish that. We will do any closing statements.
Well, I don't have anything to rebut, but I want to use this valuable time with you. So, let me share some thoughts. Air, water, food, shelter, safety. Those are our hierarchy of needs as people. Every single one of them is compromised on a fundamental level in Oakland right now. We're also facing an extremely scary and difficult road ahead. No one can chart what's going to go on in the next few years. There's a famous saying, there are decades when little happens, and there are weeks when decades happen. So we're living in a accelerated time, the latter I believe. And we need a sophisticated leadership that understand that these are not only external pressures, but the speed, efficiency, and integrity in which we make our decisions today will determine how our city thrives, survives, and remains resilient. I don't like crossing the bridge to Alameda and seeing a different city. I don't like going to Berkeley and seeing a different city. This is the same geographical region. We have similar problems. The world problems hit the region similarly. Why is our city performing so much worse than our neighbors? It has to do with us and our culture, and we need to change this neighbor. I want you to reinvest in yourself this election. Elect your neighbors to office. We're more than capable of running our own city. Thank you.
I don't really have a lot to rebut as well. I know that you guys are hearing what folks are saying, and you also have done your own research and some of the claims that may or may not be as accurate. Whenever someone says I'm the only, or I'm the best, or etc., fact check, because usually there's a little bit that might not be there. But I do want to take some time just to share a little bit in terms of what I'm seeing as what Oakland needs in this next mayor. Oakland needs a mayor that's going to prioritize Oakland above all else. Not one who is simply trying to navigate political games and rise to a higher level within their career or profession. Not someone who is being guided by outside interests. I am proud that my campaign has the highest percentage of Oakland-based support in terms of funding. More than 60% of our funding is coming from right here in Oakland, not outside or somewhere else or other interests. Also, the fact that being from here, anchored to this town, my grandparents living in North Oakland when I was growing up, family across the east and the west, my first job in Deep East Oakland, going to school at Joaquin Miller Elementary, Montero Junior High School. The future of this town is deeply personal to me, and I'm gonna put Oakland first with every decision that I make. It's not about me moving forward. It's not about me keeping a seat warm. It's not about satisfying some party that happened to support me. It's about making the tough decisions that are needed to move this town the direction we need it to go. Thank you.
It's not really a rebuttal either, but I want to follow up on the citizen advisory group piece. I think we have excellent residents here, excellent workers that have come together on their own, that have created mutual aids during the pandemic, that have done regular cleanings. I was talking to Lake Merritt neighbors who put together their own regular neighborhood cleanups. That's what's happening. So much of our city is really being run by you all. It's being run by your efforts, by your volunteerism, by your community orgs, by your organizing. You have to have a mayor that is not going to stop that or hinder it, but is going to elevate it, is going to expand it and also take that model to ensure we are delivering our part from the city side, not just dependent on nonprofits or private groups or our residents who exercise your people power and your personal time and personal dollars. Again, you already pay high taxes and should have high quality services back. We have so many advisory groups that our electeds are not listening to, that our electeds have different positions and take different advice from. We have to have not just advisories, but actual policies that have to be voted on, have to be decided on that you all put forth. Not to waste your time with years or months long of going through recommendations for them to, again, not be implemented, or for the opposite things. I want to stop wasting people's time. A lot of my time has been wasted trying to put out these community visionings, providing the legal and policy expertise behind the scenes, and then seeing that we don't have leaders willing to implement them, who don't know how. That is what propelled me into this race. I'm running to represent all of you as a reflection of all of you. I look forward to working with you as your next mayor.
I came on a city council with that deep core commitment to ensuring that I work to transform East Oakland. Because that's where I've shared, and we know that a number of the things that are before us are deeply felt. And I came into office and I saw a lot of things that disturbed us. I saw a lot of politicking. I saw a lot of delays. I saw a lot of deal cutting, manipulating, lying, scheming in a system that has not worked for us. And so this is an opportunity as mayor to show up and to be a mayor that's going to talk less and do more. A mayor that's going to make sure that I meet you where you are, to listen to you, to respond to you, and to deliver on the community priorities. That's what I'm led out on as a council member. Working to keep us housed, working to keep us safe and protected, working to keep our streets clean and beautiful, and put a demand on every resource that I can to show up for us. I've been doing that as a council member. I see the areas that are needed to be improved on, and I'm committed to doing that at a deeper level of influence and impacting how we show up for our community. This is not about politics. This is about the people that we serve and the people who have been disserved with excuses and not solutions. That's not the leader that I've been. I'm not the leader that has forgot about you. I'm the leader that sees you where you are, and I'm working to restore that sense of a functional city that we can live in, we can thrive in, and we can stay rooted from one generation to the next. So I don't have a rebuttal, but I did want to just mention this because we didn't talk about housing. I believe that it's important as mayor that we restructure how we're funding our housing. As we talk about the issues with unfunded liabilities and where we are financially, that we look at how we improved our bond rating, that we look at our long-term financial solvency, but that we look and audit where and how we're spending our money now to alleviate homelessness and address how we can restructure that funding to actually deliver people from managing the crisis to bringing people home with dignity.
We are at a very critical point in the city of Oakland. We have multiple different kinds of crises, and it is not a time to learn the job of how city government works for the first day. You need an experienced candidate, and I am that experienced candidate. 4 years ago, I ran as the experienced person who understood City Hall, and guess what? We are reaping here in District 4 the actual fruits of my labor. We are seeing that things are getting done in this district, and I want to be able to bring that kind of experience to the rest of the city because I know I can do it. You see, I'm a daughter of refugees, a domestic violence survivor, a single mom, and at the end of the day, I know how to advocate. I know how to advocate so hard for the people that I love, and I love Oakland and the people here. I want to make sure that it is safe for my son to walk to school and get back from school. So we need a fighter. We need someone who is not going to let off easy. We need someone to go and get the funding that we deserve from the counties, the funding that we deserve from the state, the federal government. And I am that person because I have the track record. And yes, don't believe what we're saying. Go and do your own research. It's about being effective and having the experience. Because when you have the experience and you've worked on the budget for this long, you understand that there is a vote in a given moment, but you can go and do the hard work to save taxpayers' dollars and come back and be that effective leader and pass policies that's going to work for the majority of all Oaklanders. And that's the kind of leader that I will be for you as your mayor, a transparent and active leader like I've been here in District 4. So just look at the track record. See all the, the benefits that we are getting here in District 4 that I so want to give to the rest of the city. Thank you.
Time for closing statements. I think it sounded like closing statements already. But we have a schedule, 1.5 minutes to say your last words.
Testing. Okay, thank you guys for hosting this evening. I want to acknowledge my colleagues or peers on this campaign trail. Anybody who's stepping up to run for office, huge respect and appreciation because it is no easy task and stepping up in service of our community is admirable. Again, my name is Loren Taylor. I'm a kid from Oakland, born and raised here. Across the town, Oakland has been my playground growing up. It's contributed to me becoming the person that I am standing here before you. My grandparents moved here in the 40s from the segregated South. They moved here for the dream of a better life for themselves and for future generations of their family. I stand before you as evidence of a dream that has been fulfilled. That dream is the same dream that an immigrant family has today when they move here for a better life for their family. The same dream that a mother in the West Oakland or East Oakland Flatlands has for their children to reach the highest heights, not constrained by the zip code that they live in. The same dream of a small business owner and young entrepreneur from Oakland that wants to take their idea, convert it into value that sustains themselves and future generations of their family. That dream is one that we can, we should, and we must deliver on here in Oakland. We have the potential to do that, and I'm ready to lead us in ensuring that every Oaklander can live, work, learn, and play right here in the city that they are from or that they've chosen to make their home. I invite you to join me. Please check out LorenForOakland.com, and I look forward to partnering with you to lead our city to the days that we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you all for spending your evenings with me. I hope that y'all will also stick around or get my contact info so you can ask me more questions. You can learn more about my background, growing up here in Oakland, my family being immigrants from Belize, my mother's family coming from the Deep South to Berkeley, second generation here in the Bay Area. My website is victoryforoakland.com. I am running on high quality public services. I'm clear that all of the issues we experience right now, the public safety crisis, our economic crisis, our health crisis, our climate crisis, the center of them is all a crisis of leadership. We have to have leaders that are willing to be transparent, that are willing to be honest, that are willing to serve and center all of you as our residents and our workers. Our city is in crisis even in running this fair election. If you all haven't been paying attention, I will put off this ballot 2 weeks later than all of my opponents because our city clerk's office was dysfunctional, canceled half of our appointments to file our paperwork. 3 people are off of this ballot because of that. I had to fight for 2 weeks to get the city to correct its own errors, to read its own laws, to do its job to administer democracy and fair elections in this November cycle. I was almost not a candidate for you all, so I'm very honored to be here, to have your consideration. I am number 7 on the ballot and hope to earn one of your 3 votes that you have in this ranked choice election. I also remind you there's so many other critical seats on our school board, our district attorney, and I'm happy to have the endorsements and collaboration from the progressives in those races as well. Thank you.
These are tough times, but I truly believe that Oakland can rise in this moment. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. But can we do it? I believe that we can. I have never lived in a pandemic. I have never lived through this type of crisis, but I have lived through some seasons in my life that I did not believe that I would come through, that my family would come through. So when I stand in this moment, I see me, I see you, I see your family, I see our city, and I see every opportunity that we can progress on to build us out of this moment, to truly recover. Having a leader who can see us, respond to us, and deliver for us across this city. That is the leader that I've been, that is the leader that I'm committed to, and I encourage you in this role to hold me accountable. I've worked for our state legislator, Nancy Skinner. I've worked to ensure that we delivered on budget priorities and policies that benefited Oakland. I've worked and lived and served in parts of this city all over. I've worked at Ford Motor Company, leading out as a regional marketing, sales, and service manager, and for other Fortune 500 companies. I know how to manage multi-million-dollar streams as I have as Alameda County's president of our Stop Waste Reduction and Recycling Board. I've owned a small business. When I came out of that time of working for Nancy Skinner, I was unemployed for 6 months when my daughter was in her senior year of college. I came through that season owning my own business, leveraging the strength that I had from my upbringing to begin to help other women to be empowered in their season of life with Triumphant Women, the business that we led. And so I know that right now Oaklanders want action. You want solutions. You can look at my track record. You can check my voting record. You can ask my neighbors. You can talk to people who worked alongside of me out in the community to deliver what's needed most for us. And I believe that we would deliver more together. So hold me accountable for the change, the results, and the accountability and the integrity that I'm known to lead from here, and certainly as your next mayor. And I would just encourage you to follow me at reidforoakland.com. That's R-E-I-D-F-O-R, Oakland.com. Thank you, Sheng.
Of course, that's important. That's important. Thank you all so much for sharing your night here with us. Really appreciate it, and thank you to all my colleagues. It's tough. It's tough being up here, but you know, we all believe that we will be a great leader for our beautiful city of Oakland. And I truly believe that I have not only Oakland values, but I have the experience and the track record of results, because that's what we need. We need results today here in the city of Oakland. And that is why I have action plans. I have action plans and plans that I want to implement on day one. I have a plan for our unhoused community, and I have a plan for getting more affordable, deeply affordable, moderate rate housing. Planting the seeds today as a legislator so that when I am your mayor, I can implement on day one. And that means that, this is why I have the support of our firefighters, of our nurses, of Sierra Club. All of these are sole endorsement. We are in a ranked choice voting here in the city of Oakland. And this time around, the firefighters, the nurses, Sierra Club, city workers, grocery workers, court workers, they all say our only candidate for mayor is Sheng. And they understand my track record. You see, I don't agree with everything that everyone says. I look at it from a frame of, does this work for the residents of Oakland? It is you all that I fight for every single day, and I will continue to do that through partnership. I have a track record of bringing people together to get things done, including saving Chabot Space and Science Center, bringing OUSD and Chabot together to actually create, to break that tie around decades of issues that they couldn't resolve. And that is also why I have former council member Dick Spee's sole endorsement as well. Please visit me on Sheng, SHENG, 4 FOR, Oakland.com for more. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys for coming out and having me. Thank you, fellow candidates, for your sacrifices for Oakland. It does matter. Not an easy thing to do to run for office, especially if you're not an incumbent and you're fighting a grassroots battle for every single cent. So I want to say one thing that's the most important to me that I grew up with. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Tough times never last, but tough cities do. There's no city tougher than Oakland. That's why it's my forever home. I don't want to leave. I love it here. We have perfect weather, perfect neighbor, perfect art. We should be a world-class destination that everyone comes to. But here's what we're facing. This system is collapsing this side. There's nothing we can do. We're in an age of consequences. We need to be pragmatic. Over here, we have an urgent rush to build parallel systems that will sustain our livelihood and our lives as we move forward. I'm very serious about this. I want you guys to remember what I'm saying to you tonight. When you go home, when you're thinking about your future, you're thinking about how you're going to make it through this next year together with your neighbor. We don't know what the future holds. I'm incredibly optimistic in the long term. I'm very concerned in the short term because we're not working together. There's a pervasive aura of sanctimony, virtue signaling, and purity contest in place of good ideas, effectiveness, and integrity. It's up to us as voters to make a change. It's up to us to think with our hearts and our minds this election. Both of them. Pick one of these beautiful people up here to be your next mayor. Thank you.
All right, we did it. Thank you all for coming tonight. Remember, it's ranked choice voting. We have 5 lovely candidates here. You get to pick 3. So pick your 1, 2s, and 3s. But I hope this was helpful to you.